All right, well, I'm going to get started here for a second time. They ended my live video because I was playing AC/DC to start off. So they said apparently that was copyrighted and I'm not allowed to do that. So they said either shut it off or you're going to get in trouble. So I shut it off. That was fun. Just going to wait for a few people to get on and then we'll get going. All right. So again, because I'm not sure about this new setup here that I'm having, I'm trying to not do it on my phone. I'm doing it on my laptop. Can whoever's watching, can you type in the comments that you can hear me? Type that you can hear me. Shh. All right, I'm just waiting for somebody to confirm that my audio is working. Yes or no, please. And then I'm going to get rolling. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of big things happened today. Number one, first and foremost, the Carolina Hurricanes won in overtime in a much needed victory against the Calgary Flames. Truthfully, they should have smoked them, but we'll take a win as a win. Second of all, through Truth Social, Donald J. Trump announced that they were going to be creating a crypto strategic reserve, which nobody knows what that means fully, but it did cause price surges across the board. And essentially what the speculation is that the United States government, through either the Treasury Department or potentially through tax payments, receipts, that there's going to be a certain amount of cryptocurrencies that the United States government is going to hold. and they are going to really work hard on making blockchain technology really make America the blockchain technology capital of the world, which will be great for securing our future. So exciting stuff, exciting stuff. All right, so waiting for a few more comments to come in. I tried doing a stream earlier, and I was playing AC/DC, and they kicked me off of that, and so I guess for copyright reasons. So I guess looks like my stream is being a little bit suppressed right now for that, but it's all right. We are going to overcome it. So what I'm going to talk about is a post that I made, and I'm going to pull it up just so I can reference it, all the specifics. And again, if you're watching this, if you consider liking and sharing it, that will be great. That means more people will see it. Okay. So I made a little post because I find that the way people measure being healthy, can be very nuanced, but also B, that it can be, like, a lot of people will sort of live in denial. So, they will maybe not have any pain. They will not be on any medications, right? They will not have any of the same symptoms like their friends, or they don't at least know that their symptoms might be the signs, and the reason that their symptoms might be a sign of a problem that's going on. So a couple of these that I wrote today that got a little bit of a reaction out of a bunch of people, but it's good because that means I'm getting you to think. So the first one I posted was, and this is for men obviously, or for those of you that identify as men with a penis, is that it's really a sign of poor cardiovascular and health, and also low testosterone for men if they don't wake up with an erection. So testosterone is by far and away at its highest peak first thing in the morning, and like in the early parts of the morning. And so testosterone, of course, amongst other things, is related to sexual function, and having a high level or an adequate level of testosterone is key for erection health. For not only for the ability to get one, but to sustain one, right, and to do all the things. And so, and in reality is actually you should be having multiple erections throughout the evening. Now, of course, if you're sleeping, you're not going to know that there's the majority that you're having them, but you should wake up. As a reason why they call it, I know this is going to be funny, but like they call it morning wood. If like pretty much any teenager that is remotely healthy is going to have that, because they have normal levels of testosterone usually, although that is on the decline. But as we older, our testosterone levels do go down, especially around 30, 35. They tend to peak in terms of just like sort of the average American, which is not healthy. And they begin to go down about 1% per year or more for that. So if you are a male and man and you are not waking up with an erection in the morning, then there are some serious things that you are going to want to look at in terms of your cardiovascular, your health, testosterone levels, as well as your probably your cortisol levels too. So again, you as a man may think I'm healthy, but if you're not doing that, I will tell you that there are some serious warning signs, and there's a lot of research that shows this. There's some serious warning signs that you have some areas of your health that you can improve upon. All right. So lack of hunger when you wake up, I deal with this one a lot. A lot of people that have this problem typically tend to begin to intermittent fast too, or I guess technically in a way they kind of do intermittent fast by skipping breakfast. But a sign that your circadian rhythm is off, despite what other people on the internet say, despite what other people will say on on this platform, and other people I've even engaged with, if you are not hungry when you wake up, that means that your metabolism is in trouble, and your circadian rhythm, more specifically, is off. And on a post I made a little while back, I had cited a bunch of research. There was hundreds of more articles that go into that. But waking up and not hungry, again, means your circadian rhythm is off. And if your circadian rhythm is off, that means every single biological function in your body is going to be in disarray, whether you feel it or not. And because the circadian rhythm is the foundation of everything that makes our body do what it's supposed to do when, and not only that, but when it's supposed to do it as well. So typically people that when you wake up and you're like not hungry and you're like, oh, I'm just not hungry, I get up and I can go. What you're running off of is cortisol. So cortisol is, it's an alert hormone, right? It's a hormone like you can kind of think of like adrenaline. It's made in your adrenals, by your adrenals. And when you in the morning, your cortisol levels are going to be at its highest. That's how we wake up, right? And so, first of all, if you have a hard time waking up in the morning, like you're extremely tired in the morning, that's usually a sign of pretty heavy adrenal fatigue. So you can look at that, and that give you a topic for a whole nother video. But cortisol is a stress and catabolic hormone, and of course, when you're stressed, you will not really typically kind of feel like eating, right? And so I'm going to pull up, hold on a second. I made some notes here on this. So some ways that you can fix your circadian rhythm and get your cortisol levels intact too. So first of all is going to bed at a set time, like within a set window, right? It's reducing artificial light at night. So I'm having to do this live, and actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put my computer on red mode there. So I at least got that. And I have this light on in the background, otherwise it'd be kind of weird. I do have a little bit of blue light tinting in these glasses here, too. So, but here's some ways you can fix your cortisol levels. So number one is make sure you're getting plenty of salt. And in my world, plenty of salt means a heck of a lot of salt. It's salt all day long. It's salt on every single meal. And it's even consuming salt in between meals. We need salt. Getting plenty of simple, natural carbohydrates, especially sugar. So that would be things like honey, fruit, maple syrup, right? Orange juice would be a great, choice for that. You could be doing Epsom salt baths, okay? Doing things like stress relievers, so like hobbies. I will tell you that when we work and send blood work off to an oncologist in Spain who specializes in natural cancer treatment, especially for really, really late stage or terminal cancer patients. One of the most common findings that I've noticed over the years when we send those labs off is that people that have cancer or really serious health problems, just by looking at their blood through a microscopy, he's able to identify high levels of cortisol and stress, and he always writes in like choosing to do more hobbies. And so then when I've circled back and then had consultations with those patients and I ask them about the hobby thing, every single one of them will confess or sort of come to the realization that they had hobbies that they used to do, that they loved to do, and they hadn't done them in a really long time. So it might have been like an activity they did with their spouse, or they used to read all the time, and now they don't do that anymore. Maybe they used to paint or do some kind of artwork, or they might have done something with music and they have stopped doing that because they get caught up in the busyness of life. So therefore they have, by the wayside something that was really important to them and potentially like a big part of their childhood, right? And like going back to something as like their earliest memories, they stop doing those things. Then they wonder why their body's, falling apart. Or really, it's no surprise. So really coming in touch with your hobbies again and doing things that really, and you could say have no productive value, but they have a productive value for your soul and for your happiness and for your joy. So make sure you're looking at that and assessing where you're at with that right now. Yeah. Somebody just texted me that my post was, but that was the old video. So anyways, so I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit because it's Sunday night, and but blocking off artificial light at night as much as possible. So it's making sure that your phone screen right here is red, your computer screens are in red. If you're going to have artificial lights on or watch TV or do something, you got to wear some level of blue light blocking protection. Now, these are not my most potent ones. I use pure red lenses for that. But again, it's a little bit hard for me to see and like read the comments, when I'm doing this. So that's how you get your circadian rhythm. And then in the morning time, when you wake up, you need to go outside and you need to get early morning sunshine, particularly sunrise on your face and on your eyes, on your naked eyes. So if you wear glasses, you take your glasses off, right? If you, you can't get, it doesn't work through a window. You have to be right outside in it, okay? All right, so hobbies, I said honey. Oh, pregnenolone. So pregnenolone is a huge hormone. So it's called the mother hormone, and it's the precursor to all the hormones in your body. So what happens is most people get depleted and deficient in pregnenolone because there's what's called a pregnenolone steal. So what happens is that when pregnenolone is made in your body, it can convert and be turned into cortisol, right? And so when you have then your what should be the precursor to your hormones, like becoming things like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, is being stolen and converted into cortisol. You're getting a stress response instead of a normal productive response. And so whenever people say my hormones are out of whack, I need to do the test or whatever, it's like really, it's like sure you could spend $200, $300, $400 on a hormone test, or what really makes more sense is go straight to the most likely root cause, which is likely stress hormones inside of the body, aka cortisol, and your circadian rhythm is off. So really hormone problems, like again to kind of start tying this together, when you have a hormone problem, you have a circadian rhythm problem. Almost guaranteed, I could say 99 out of 100 people, have that. It's the primary driver of hormones. Why? Because it tells your body what to make and when to make it. Okay, and your hormones have different cycling. Like we talked about at the beginning, testosterone is made in the morning at its highest levels, right? You have things like melatonin, which is at nighttime, at its highest levels. And right, and these things that go up and down, like as a woman, your levels of estrogen, progesterone not only change throughout the day, but they change in levels throughout like a 28, 30-day cycle. So keep that in mind. You got to fix your circadian rhythms. Eating way more fruit is huge. Grounding is a great way to do that. Avoiding seed oils and polyunsaturated fatty acids like we talked about in the last video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you to go back and look at that. I think I did that on, was that Wednesday night, a couple nights ago. Focusing on your breathing, so making sure that your nervous system is synced up with your breathing. So many of us, we breathe through our mouths way too much instead of through our noses. So we get in this shallow breathing too much, which is a stress response. When you're stressed, you will breathe much more shallowly and through your mouth versus through your nose. So most of you are doing that at nighttime, and you're wondering why you wake up tired, fatigued, puffy face, tired eyes, feeling, like you were not rested, right? Because when you're breathing through your mouth, you're getting a stress response all night long instead of. So looking at fixing that, you can do things like mouth tape, nasonex stripping. Those are some things that I do to fix that. I also chew mastic gum to develop my jaw muscles and my masseters, because the stronger and healthier your jaw muscles are, the better it helps your airway, and the better your airway is, the more your nervous system is going to be in balance, and you're going to have more of an optimal health inside of your body. So I would say one thing, if you are the type of person that no matter what you do, no matter how much you get adjusted, there's two primary reasons why your posture would not improve. Well, I guess I could say three. Number one is you're not trying to improve it. Number two, although not that likely, is you could have some type of ligament damage from a previous trauma. But really the most common one that I see in my office is people that have an airway issue with breathing. So typically when I'm looking at an x-ray of their neck from the side, they'll have a recessed jaw. So when I look at them from the side, you can look at yourself or your loved ones in the mirror. If you look at them from the side, you'll see the chin will drop at a slant. I'm trying to see if I can do it. It'll slant downward like this, okay, and fall underneath the the upper mandible. So you'll see the lower jaw is actually underneath. So you'll see this a lot with kids. All the kids with like the dark circles under their eyes that are wetting their bed, that are a freaking mess with their behaviors, right? They all have the same posture. Their heads are forward, their jaws are inward, right? Their airways are screwed up, and their nervous systems are just completely bonkers. And then you wonder why, no matter how healthy you feed them, all the supplements you give them, right, and all the things that you're trying to do, the cleanses that you're doing, right, they keep reverting back to these problematic behaviors and health issues, it's because of their breathing. Okay. So kids is a lot easier to fix because they're still moldable. Adults is a lot harder. So if you have kids that have those issues, I encourage you to jump on it, right away and get it fixed. So if you want help with that, you can reach out to me and I can kind of guide you through that, because we have gone through that with a couple of my kids and we've been really successful at getting it to change and reverse. I can show you some pre and post pictures sometime, which is pretty amazing. So, all right, let's go through a few comments here. So I'd ask everybody to share what they've learned the most. So Martha says how important proper posture is and chiropractic appointments are, how damaging meds can be if you can heal naturally, and many more things. Awesome. Gina said, presentation on light with a huge takeaway. A few years ago, I've once worn sunglasses since. In our new home, we'll have the flicker-free red light bulbs. Awesome. Yeah, was pretty tough to top that seminar. I think really I'll have to just do a version 2.0 because that was really what I would call the kindergarten version of it. And there's really a lot more advanced information I could go over with that, but that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Share with my coworkers, points of grounding, natural light without glass contact exposing the skin. Absolutely. Gut problems can cause issues in other areas of your body, like broken veins in your legs, swelling. Yep, specifically gallbladder with that one, vein issues. All right, so if you're still watching this and you haven't already, please consider liking and sharing it. I appreciate that. Let's go through some questions because I can't see the screen the way that I want to because it's not working the way that I want to. Let me see if I can pull up my notes here on Facebook while we're doing that, but I'll take questions. Dana said, after 3 doctors, you're the only one that could explain how me fix my gut issues. Awesome. There's still room for improvement there, but we'll take it. Oh, okay. So let's go going back to my list. So another sign of healthy people that are really not that healthy, or there's signs of severe dysfunction in their body, would be not able to sweat a whole lot. And so, there can be a lot of reasons for this. Thyroid health is a big one, but really what I find the reason why people don't sweat very much is going to be a stagnant lymphatic system. So people that have really stagnant lymph also tend to have thyroid problems too, and just really detox problems in general. So like because their pathways are not open and allowing that lymph to flow, things like sweat are going to be bound up, and those detoxification pathways are not open as well. So if you don't sweat very often, I would look at your lymphatic system. So of course, exercise is great for this. Infrared, far infrared, near infrared saunas, infrared light is great for that as well. I take a product called Lymph Active from Cellcore that has just herbs in there that helps support lymphatic flow. You can do things like rebounding on a trampoline, like literally jumping up and down. The vibration platforms that we have in our office that people will get on after adjustments are great for lymphatic flow. Adjustments are help. A lot of times people will literally get adjusted and they'll start sweating within seconds after I adjust them, because we open up those channels and those pathways in their body, which is pretty cool. So that's the deal. But if you don't sweat very easily, like there's a sign that you have severe dysfunction in your body. So you got to work on that. Being a night owl, definitely, that goes back to the circadian rhythm that I talked about like 10 minutes ago. So that when I went over the problems all there, unable to focus, so this can be a lot of things, but if you really think about it, like ADHD, I mean, your nervous system is whacked out if you can't sit still and literally can't focus on what you're supposed to. And so sure, you could take Adderall or you could take some other type of pharmaceutical for that, and therefore never fix the root cause of your whacked out nervous system. Or you could spend whatever type of resources, time, research, right? Whatever you need to do to figure out why your freaking brain can't focus on something, because the ability for the brain to focus is one of the most important and primitive, I guess like traits that we have, right? Because you have to have the ability okay, to be able to lock in and be able to sense when danger may arise and be able to flee from that. So if you really have a hard time with focusing, you got to figure that out and figure out why is your brain so screwy in your nervous system. Again, a lot of it could go back to breathing potentially, right? But what is going on in your body that is a problem? So I can't really give solutions here because it's going to be very different for the person. But if that's you, get help. All right. Um, Energy crash in the afternoon or after eating. So that's a blood sugar issue. Typically could be cortisol issue, which that's going to be related. Blood sugar is really the root cause of a lot of health problems. So if you get these high swings with blood sugar and crashes with that, you have other issues going on inside of your body that really, or even if you don't have other symptoms yet, if your blood sugar is off, you're going to have a lot more problems down the road. Never having dreams. So that's going to be a lack of quality of REM sleep and really like proper theta. I think it's theta. Is it theta or is it beta waves? Anyways, I'm blanking on that a little bit right now. But if your body is not able to get into that proper REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep, your brain is not recovering the way that it's supposed to at nighttime. So one of the things that our brain will do at nighttime through dreaming, right, is to solve problems. And so by solving problems, right, it's fixing things. So people that have really that develop severe neurological issues like Parkinson's and dementia, you'll find that a common trait with them, amongst many other things, right? But they will also report that they don't dream very often and they have not for a really long time. So if that's you, again, you got to figure that out and get that under control. So next thing I want to kind of go over here, and I'm going to kind of wrap this up pretty early because I think of playing AC/DC on my previous live stream. My account's getting a little bit shadow banned right now, and so not a lot of people are going to see this anyways. But I want to go over the like what I consider to be probably the most important attitude and probably the greatest predictor of how healthy you're going to be a year from now, 6 months from now, or a decade from now. And the greatest predictor that I've found of that is what is the level of curiosity that you have for your health. The most irritating thing that I run into as a clinician is, or it just kind of like whenever I meet people out in the community, and then they're like, oh yeah, I know, like here's like the 17 that they'll find out what I do, and they'll give me like the 17 things that they do for their health. One second. And then, so they'll list off all these things, and then I'll ask them like, when's the last time that they, changed something or added something, and then they look at me and it's like they made this decision to be healthy and they did all these things 5 years ago, and that's all they've done in the last 5 years. And it might be a lot of things. I'm not saying that's bad, but the greatest predictor that I've found for people that are going to be and really get to an elite level of health is what is their level of curiosity that they have regarding their health. Where you're not going to be in a good spot is, and I do get a lot of people that have this challenge too, and it was me for a while as well, is being stressed about all the things that either A, you can't control with your health, like you can't control what they're spraying in the sky, you can't control, everything that they're putting in the food, you can't control the types of cleaning products that, that the grocery store that you walk into or the business that you walk into that, they're using, you're getting exposed to toxins that way, or the mold that might be in that building, right? You can't control, in many cases, the level of like stress in your life, like as far like with loved ones or other things that are just like literally you can't control them. You can't control those things, right? But instead of getting bogged down by that, what I find the better attitude to have towards health is the question that I came up with, I guess, for me, is always asking what's next. So literally, you can be stressed about, oh, I'm not doing enough, versus you flip that and you're saying, oh, I'm doing a lot of great things. What's next? And then you figure out what the next thing is, and then you work on that, you implement it into your life, you make it part of the new routine, right, in your new kind of rhythm of life. And then the question pops up again, what's next? And I found that that's been the single just greatest help for me to not be stressed, because you could imagine all the things that you or the average healthy person knows about health and knows about all the bad things that are stacked against us, try knowing as much as I do, right? Like you guys don't even know, like this, you scratch the surface of all the evil garbage and crap that you're exposed to on a regular basis or have been exposed to throughout your lifetime, or all the things you've screwed up and done to yourselves inadvertently since the beginning of birth. Okay. So when you know as much as I do, it's very easily to get paralyzed by this and almost like just want to give up. And so when I switched though my mentality to saying, always asking what's next, it was very liberating because then it's a continual pursuit of like what I can do to make myself and my family's life better. Okay. So I hope that helps you a lot. Is I think if you have that question, maybe you need to like write a little sticky note and just be like, what's next? Or ask yourself right now, what's next? Like, what's the next thing you need to figure out with your health? In fact, if there's, I don't know, looks like 15 people or so watching this right now, and some of you will watch it later. I want you to write in the comment section what you think is the next thing that you need to dive into with you and your family's health. So go ahead and write that in. I'm going to wait. Be engaged, because if you do this right now, you're way more likely to follow through on actually asking that question and then seeking out the answers. But if you're just listening, you're like, oh yeah, golf clap, that's a really good idea. You're probably not going to do it. So write in what's next for you and your family, you and or your family's health. I'm going to go back and check comments here while we're going. And this is Winnie, our little puppy. Winnie. We call her It's like Winnie or Winner Chicken Dinner, Winner Chicken Dinner, and then her nickname from there evolved into Win Chicken Din, to now we just call her Chicken. My kids call her Chicken. So when they're out of town right now, they'll FaceTime me. The first thing they ask is, "Can I see Win Chicken Din or show me chicken?" So this is Chicken, not to be confused with a chicken, because I don't have any chickens and I'm not ever going to own chickens. But all right. So Lydia said detoxing. That was awesome. Coming to get adjusted. Excellent. Lower A1C. All right. Beautiful. So, and then I'll give a little more feedback on this too. So like when you say something like detox, right, then I would make it more specific. So it's like detox from what? Like, do you just need to do a general detox? Is there a specific type of detox you need to do or think you need to do? Or do you need to do some level of testing or questionnaire to figure out what's the most likely detox you need to do? So again, just kind of refine that even more. And then you say, okay, lower A1C, Carmel, great. So what is it that you are missing in your knowledge gap right now that you think you need to explore to figure out why your A1C is not as low as what it's supposed to be? Okay, so again, just kind of refine that there a little bit too. And Miss Beverly, I've been busy, but we're due for a meeting, so be on the lookout for that here this month. Yep, really trying to sweat more. Excellent. Yeah, April, I mean, I will tell you, as from one chiropractor to another, fixing the airway in yourself or an individual is probably more healing to the nervous system than any type of adjustment you could ever do. But it's a lot harder than an adjustment, though. Unfortunately, it takes a lot more time. Better choices with food. Grounding, great. It's going to get easier now that it's warmer out. Problem is I need to sweat. I need to do it more. Yeah, so I'll say this. I forget the name of it, but there's this theory or law, if you will, that all mammals, like within a certain species, have a certain number of heartbeats or within a range of that. So, for example, like a mouse, what is a tiny little animal, they have a very fast heartbeat and they also have a very short lifespan. So essentially, you can kind of think of it like they burn through their heartbeats much faster compared to, let's say, like a human being. We have a slower heart rate, but then go up to like like a whale, and whales have way slower heart rates, or and they live a long time. So I think there's a lot of value in doing low intensity exercise, or what would be considered like zone 2 or zone 3, like, which is why walking is such really just a phenomenal form of exercise. But what I think that the majority of us need to do is look at doing things like going for a walk, but actually wearing like a weighted vest. So putting like an extra 10, 15, 20, or even 40 pounds kind of strapped to you to get a little bit more of like a musculoskeletal like strengthening benefit while you're doing the walk. Okay, so that's something that I've started doing really just in the last week, and I found it to be a phenomenal form of exercise. And it's something I'm going to continue doing a lot more, exploring a lot more. So I'm still going to do weight training and do those other things too. But I think like walking is good, but I really think that you should be focus on ramping up your like your intensity with how you're doing your walking. Investigating red light, red sauna. Yeah, I just got one back at what was that, Black Friday, and it's great. Been doing that a lot. That's one thing that's been helping me sweat a lot more, is going in there and just cranking it up. Did I get the book shipped to the office? I don't think so. Shannon, what was the name of it? But thank you. Grounding sheets. So I used a grounding sheet for like 2 years. I didn't notice a difference, and I had a pretty expensive one. It was like $200 or $300. Um, some people swear by them, which is cool. So I don't know. I don't have like a strong recommendation on grounding sheets, if they really work or not. I mean, a lot of people swear by them, but I didn't find any benefit, and I measure my sleep pretty intensely. So, um, Mom saved my brain. I did not yet, but I haven't checked the mail, so maybe it's in there. I don't know when you sent it. That's all. I can't. That sounds cool. Yeah. So grounding sheets, not a no. I'm indifferent on them. No strong recommendation. Corey says hormone health, immunity, back to consistent exercise. Yep. The ability for people to live a long, healthy life, in my opinion, is not predicated on staying perfect. But I find the greatest skills that people have in being radically healthy is their ability to course correct and get back on track quickly. Meaning that you can have the cheat meal on Saturday night, like I did last night, and you're back on track the next morning. It's the people that have the one cheat meal that turns into a 3-month long binge fest. Those are the people that get screwed. So it's not about being perfect, but it's about bouncing back and getting back on track as quickly as possible. So, as you say, back to consistent exercise. If you skip one workout, those things happen. But if skipping one workout takes you 6 months, to get back on track, well, like, that's the problem. Okay. Grounding and improving gut health. Great. And I mean, I think like some of these things are awesome. But like, it's cool to type it out, but like, what's your actual plan to do that? I'm not saying you have to type that out, but like, when are you going to ground? Like, when are you actually going to do it? You know what I mean? Like, when are you actually, or what are you actually going to change about your diet? Like, again, you have to get specific about this stuff. You need to put it in your calendar. You need to have a routine that you're going to do that, or otherwise it's just some fancy things that you're typing on a Facebook Live on March 2nd, at 9:21 p.m., and nothing's going to be any different 6 months from now. So execution is really critical with that. And, that's another tenet of healthy people, is that when they say they're going to do something, it starts right now or the next day. And it doesn't wait like, oh, next week will be a good idea. Every single day, what's called the law of diminishing intent. The longer it takes between when you actually do something from when you say you're going to do something, it makes you, infinitely less likely to achieve it and actually to execute it. So, Kylene, like if you're not grounding tomorrow, I can tell you that you're that much less likely to not actually end up doing it at all. And I'll do my next Facebook Live in 3 months, and I'll be talking about the importance of grounding. You'd be like, oh yeah, like I was supposed to do that, And I'm not calling you out specifically, but I was just giving you that as an example. Can you explain the red light sauna? So, no, probably not tonight. Sorry, that's too much. But I would start with a red light panel first. Okay, get one of these. This is what I would get first before you get a sauna, infrared light sauna, or infrared. EMR Tech, it's in my profile, Linktree. I think they're like 30% off right now, actually. You can just get, this one's the Firewave. It's like $180, I think. Best money you'll ever spend. Well, some of the best money you'll ever spend on your health. It'll last you years and years and years and years and years. You can use it every single day. And that $180 spent on this light will do more than any $180 you spend on any supplements that, are gone in a month. So get your red light for sure. What's the one thing we should all do starting tomorrow? Oof, I only have to pick one. I would say improve your light environment. That would be number one. So I guess to subdivide that, it would be sunrise, less artificial light during the day, red tinted or intense blue light blockers at nighttime, and as little artificial light as possible. And second thing is that if you don't get adjusted, go see a chiropractor. Get under chiropractic care. Chiropractic probably is the most bang for the buck and the lowest hanging fruit, meaning like a lot of these things take a lot of effort and time. The thing about an adjustment is it takes 90 seconds and money, and that's it. So it's very little time commitment. I guess you got your commute, right? But whatever. It's a very low time commitment, and literally everything in your health improves a little bit to a lot after every single adjustment, whether it's your hormone health, your stress levels, your posture, your lymphatic flow, your blood flow, your nerve flow, your digestion, your immune system, right? It's like literally everything gets a little bit better with an adjustment. It's the best bang for the buck, time and money wise, especially combined for your health. Really, 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 really good. But I know you know that, Dana. So most of the people on here. Rebounding, yeah, I like it. It's great. Yep. It kind of goes along with things like dancing and jumping for joy and having fun. So that's just like our ancestors would have naturally rebounded. Oh, she's getting mad. This is the other furry friend that's accompanying me tonight. This is Juno, or Chun. She was sleeping though, and she was mad that I woke her up, so I'll let her lay back down. It's hilarious because June and Chicken are they're the same breed. And then I have another one that Coco's our older dog who's sitting over on the couch over there by the fire. Recommendations for a rebounder? No, just get like a little trampoline. You can get them off Amazon. They're not that expensive. All right, I'll stand for maybe one or two more questions, and then I'm going to shut her down and go read. I'm reading a book called two books I just got them. One's called The Bronze Age Mindset. It's a wild read. It is like one of the most interesting books I've ever read. I'm only like 10 pages into it. It is not for the faint of heart, or if you don't like cussing though, so just FYI on that. But it'll get you to think really hardcore about how you live in the world right now. Really good. Second book I just got, it's called The Seven Types of Wealth. Is that right? It's over on my nightstand. I'm not going to go get it. So Seven Types of Wealth. It was recommended by Bill Ackman, who's a billionaire, and he said he's only ever recommended a couple books in his entire life, and he said that was one of them. So I'm interested to dive into that one, which will be interesting. Seven Types of Wealth. What else am I reading right now? I just finished the Sugar for Therapy book. That was a wild read. I got another book that's waiting. I'm waiting on estrogen. Big thick book on estrogen. So that'll be fun to dive into too. And then I guess if I can find it, Mom Saved My Brain. I'll look for that. Sounds like a great book as well. Can ask me anything at all. Let me check, because this format's a little bit different. Let me see if there's any comments that just got. It's called the. I'm getting a little feedback there. Check the price of Bitcoin. Nice. Down a little bit over the last hour, but up big time in the last 24 hours. Okay, well, I guess I'll end it now. There's no other questions. I do respond to these, so if you're watching this 2 days from now, you can type the question in, and I will go back and I'll respond if I didn't answer it. Have a great night, everybody. Peace out.